Hey everybody, it's Brooks with AgriSompo, and welcome to our January edition of Straight to the Point podcast. This month, we're going to talk about ECO and SCO and give you some considerations to make as we put together our risk management plans for 2026. Well, it's always great to have a subject matter expert in-house, and we've got the guy for you today in Jason from our national sales team. Jason, welcome to Straight to the Point.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate being here.
With that being said, let's get right to business. We're going to talk about an old product with some new twists, ECO and SCO. They've been around for a while, Jason. Before we talk about the new twist, let's do a quick review on what ECO and SCO have meant to us in the past.
So ECO and SCO have provided additional coverages outside of your standard MPCI products that go above the levels provided.
So additional to the multi-peril, the revenue protection, the yield protection we're accustomed to, a little different from how they trigger as well. Can you give us an idea of how they trigger, when they pay out? When do we kind of know when an indemnity is coming?
So the last part of this equation is the final county yield, which the RMA gives to us on or before June 16th of the following crop year. So that's one part of the math. It's the final county yield. They pay off the final county yield. We will have the harvest price the October before that in most cases. But the actual final indemnity will be set on or before June 16th, the following crop year. And it is paid off of the county rather than the individual production.
I think you bring up a really good point to remember. While they're very useful tools in different parts of the country, they don't insure individual farms. They are based off the county. So that's one thing to keep in mind as we think about ECO and SCO this year. Now, in the past, it seems like we've had geographical pockets where ECO and SCO have worked. Tell us a little bit about that, and then give us an idea of how you think that might change going into 2026.
So typically when you look at places where ECO has been purchased in the last couple of years, it's areas where producers are carrying higher levels of coverage to start with. So think about that with counties that have cheaper to insure your 85% levels. Those are typically good candidates for your 95% levels.
And you've done a lot of work on historical analysis, and we house some of that analysis in-house. As an agent, when we're trying to help that farmer develop that risk management plan, where would you go? What would you look for as far as what AgriSompo already holds in-house?
Yeah, so we have a number of tools inside of our quoting platform. I would encourage anyone to take a look at our preferences and our historical analysis sheets to really hone in on the quotes that you want to generate, especially as it pertains to this sales season with the historical analysis tools that we have.
How far back can you get an idea to make that decision? How many years can you go back?
So we have two different reports, and these are set by preferences. So you can either do kind of the 7-year report that goes back to 2017 or 18 in some places, or you can use a full 20-year history.
All right, so we've kind of given you a background of what ECO and SCO has been. Let's throw in the new twist. July 4th, one big beautiful bill passes. All kinds of changes are taking place, Jason. One of those changes was premium support. Give us an idea of how that premium support is going to help expand ECO and SCO across the country.
Yeah, so the premium support that was authorized by the big beautiful bill was the increase to 80% for both ECO and SCO. I think that's going to be significant this year as we look to cover the commodities in this environment with very tight margins for the farmers.
Now, I want to backtrack just a little bit here and go back into history. Traditionally, and we break apart ECO and SCO here for a second. ECO traditionally, give us an idea of what coverage levels it has accomplished in the past or covered in the past.
So ECO has covered an option of either 95% level or 90% level. And that went down to the underlying 86%. And that was set up intentionally to not cause any conflict with our county
FSA programs that also trigger at 86%.
And we saw a lot larger, more widespread use of ECO last year, so that's going to be familiar. So let's look at SCO for just a moment. Traditionally, SCO, give us an idea. I know 86% has kind of been our trigger. How exactly has that worked in the past?
So SCO coverage begins at 86 and it goes all the way down to the underlying MPCI policy. So for those growers who are familiar with stacks, there was kind of an exhaustion point on stacks coverage that SCO does not have. It goes all the way to the multi-peril level, all the way down to a 50% RP policy.
As we get into the present, one of the changes that One Big Beautiful Bill brought on was an increase of that threshold of SCO from 86 to 90%, but it doesn't take place until after the 2026 sales season. Jason, is there a workaround that we can get into where we can get that 80% premium support with that 90% coverage?
Yeah, here at AgriSompo, we refer to that as the SCO synthetic, because you can elect 90% ECO, and the premium support has been increased for that level of coverage. If you now elect a SCO to 86 and then put a ECO with a 90% loss trigger on it, you then have that kind of synthetic SCO at 90% level, as that will be their kind of 27 crop year and beyond.
So as I understand it, you're combining kind of the best of both worlds there. You're getting the SCO at the 80% premium support. You're adding just a little bit of that ECO to get us where we're going to be in the future in 2027 and beyond. Now, that brings another question to mind. In the past, a lot of farmers have elected ARC, as we refer to it, as our safety net program in the commodity title of the Farm Bill. We had to make those elections last March 15th. And in the past, SCO and Ark County, they didn't play well together. You couldn't take one and the other at the same time. Any changes for 2026?
Yeah, I think for everyone involved, we are fortunate here that what we have done with the One Beautiful Bill is simplified some of the things regarding crop insurance. And it used to be that Ark County election caused a problem with SCO, and that has been removed. That complication has been removed, and you can now take either plan, and it doesn't matter which.
I think that changes the conversation in a lot of risk management strategies that we have over the next 2 to 3 months on the farm. We talked about the workaround. We talked about the combining of Ark County and SCO, the coverage threshold change, premium support. Any other ideas come to your mind, changes that One Big Beautiful Bill brought when it comes to ECO, SCO that I've missed?
One thing I would say is the increase for the premium support for SCO is definitely going to change, in my opinion, the conversation for cotton growers in a way that they're not expecting. I think the Stack's inability to elect any farm program at FSA has really kind of been a problem in the Stacks program, and I think this additional premium support for SCO and ECO now makes it a factor that agents and farmers should be taking a look at into 2026 sales, to look at SCO and ECO in combination to replace Stacks, and then have an additional safety net program through the FSA with Ark County or PLC.
So as we make considerations for choosing SCO or ECO over the next 3 months, Jason, if you put your farmer hat on, as a farmer, as a producer, what are my considerations of whether I take SCO or ECO?
I think there's really 3 things you need to think about. Number 1, is this a risk that my farm operation needs to have protected? Does the coverage cover a risk that I have in my farm? If it doesn't, if I'm a high producer with low margins, then potentially it's not a fit for my operation. Number 2, I would say, how much does it cost? Sometimes it's required, and even regardless of how much it costs, I need to be buying it because of the risk that I have. But am I willing to shoulder the premium cost? And the third thing, as we discussed earlier, the way it trends with the way the ECO and SCO trigger off of the county. Does my farm trend with the county, because we want to make sure that each farm is receiving the coverage that is protecting the risk that they have. And this coverage, if your yields don't trend with the county, it's not necessarily a good fit for your operation.
Two of the things you just defined right there, Jason, are two of the terms that we use a lot, and that's effective rate and coverage level. With each one of these podcasts, we put out a toolkit for AgriSompo agents, and those two terms come into play a lot. Can you give us a little sneak peek of what the toolkit will have in it as we release this podcast?
Yeah, we're going to have some training materials related to how to make sure that you can generate the quotes that you want for this sales season, that they contain the information, including the historical analysis sheet that you want to present to your producer. And then we're going to show the tools on the historical analysis of ECO, SCO, and MCO. And then in addition to that, we're going to have the policy tools inside of our website that show how the claims could potentially work on the county triggers for the individual farms. And I think that's important to understand the math on those.
So make sure you check out not only the podcast, but the toolkit. There's going to be a lot of good stuff in there that really help make these decisions a lot easier for us over the next 3 months. Jason, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you guys.
In summary, when we look at ECO and SCO, and we think about time-tested products that we've used for a long time, it can still be a challenge when putting together what One Big Beautiful Bill changed or twisted for 2026. Our idea is pretty simple at AgriSompo. We want to bring you a level of expertise and the tools to help you make really the right decision for America's farmers out there. Jason did a great job today with the examples he shared, whether it's the historical analysis of being able to look back over 20 years within the quoter, our traditional profit matrix, and even some specialized ECO/SC tools. I think when you review the situation, you're really going to find the right fit for your risk management package for America's farmers. Our ask today is contact an AgriSompo business development rep. They're going to really help you unlock a lot of knowledge and some of these tools that you can use for a successful 2026 sales season. Thanks for joining us on Straight to the Point.